guys? And I know you're here today because you want to learn technical analysis. And I'm going to make this the best lesson you ever had. After this video, you're going to understand technical analysis and you're going to learn how to trade charts and make some money. First thing first, we're going to start with the very basics, okay? The basics is green candles means that the stock is going to go up. So you see the green means that it went up. The red candles means that the stock is going down. That is the very basics of technical analysis. Now that we covered the basics and you understand that green means that it's going up and red means that it's going down, next we're going to start looking at like lines and trend lines and support and resistance. So support is just an area in which the stock usually would land at, that it usually would go up from, okay? That's all a support is. So in this case, we've seen that in December, that's November actually, but it landed around 79 and decided to go back up. See, it kind of landed around, then 81, then it went up, okay? Now we're in, I'm going to say February now. We're back at 79. Now, it has a good chance of going back up from here, right? We've seen it happen already in the past. We call this support. Now, worst case scenario, it doesn't, and it just keeps dropping. It goes lower and lower. We call that break of support. So I'm going to just make a line to show the support now. So for all my traders, we call this the support line. Let's see, hold on. Oopsie, messed up. Support line. Cool, so this is your support line. If it gets around this area, it's probably gonna go back up from there. So what you see here is a support line. This is the area that the stock is gonna go, that it more than likely will bounce and go back up from. You're looking to see the stock you want the stock to actually make a green candle somewhere around here. That's going to give you a good indication to start buying the stock. So you see, say if it had a green candle around 79, you know that you have a good chance of maybe being able to sell it back at 115 all the way from like 79.80. Worst case scenario, it drops down to around 70. So you're risking about, let's say you risked about $10 to potentially make 30. That's a good risk reward. It's not bad. But that's how you need to think when you're trading. So now I've shifted the chart up and I put the line where the stock keeps trying to go past. Like, you see how it's rising up here, then it rises up here, but every time it rises up, it just goes back down. We call that a resistance line. You see, people start selling up there. They start selling like very heavily, and the stock starts heading down. So we recently seen heavy resistance in the stock, and it started heading down. So that's the next part of trading, right? Learning how to identify support and resistance lines. So what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to walk you through 2 or 3 more examples just to show you, so you guys can get a feel for it. So the stock I chose for the next example is AMD. Now, I picked this one for a certain reason. It's very easy to identify the support and resistance on this one, right? Where is the point where people start buying? Well, they bought here, they bought here, they bought here, they bought here. It doesn't have to be a perfect line. You understand, somewhere around there, people are going to start buying. Cool. Where's the point people start selling? They sold here, they sold here, and they sold here. You know, somewhere around this area, people start selling. So, as a trader, you know that if you buy up here, if you're buying up here, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. You should only be buying over here, down here somewhere. You shouldn't be buying up here. Cool. So, but that's support and resistance. Now here's the next example. We're going to look at a stock called Nvidia. You know, we're trying to figure out where's the support and resistance on this stock. Now this one is much harder. And to be real with you, this is one that you might not want to use your technical analysis on because it's not very clear. And you probably will get faked out of a position, to be honest. But if I did, I understand. First, I'll find resistance because I see where resistance is. Some people might think resistance is, you know, up here. It could be, but I'm going to go to the point where it just went to 1, twice, maybe around 3 times over a period of time. So I'm going to go around here. In this area is resistance. So I've identified that. Where's the area where it's just constantly being bought at? You know, there's a lot of like points and wicks here. You see those lines, they're called wicks. So I'm going to go to a bottom of a wick. The bottom of these wicks. And I probably didn't explain wicks, but wicks, long story short of things, just means that the stock did touch that price at some point in the day. It did. But it, you know, it closed, you know, above it, but it touched that point. So now this is the range of this one. This one's trading in like somewhat of this range. It gets around somewhere around those areas and people start buying it. It starts going up. So in this case, this one's actually pretty high too. Like it might not be the best time to buy Nvidia. You should try to buy at least when it's under 180. Anywhere like over here. But at 191, the chance of you losing your money is very high.